Before we get out of here, Miss Roxanne, this this piece on your website, IamForTheLoveOfNature.com. I shared it in Patreon, and I want to pick your brain about it and have you talk us through it. I'm going to pull it up on the screen here momentarily, but it says, here's a video of my, hopefully I'm pronouncing this correctly, PechaKucha. Is that how you pronounce that? What? Holy crap, I got it right?
In Japan, yeah. PechaKucha is how we say it over here. I've heard that in Japan they say PechaKucha. So who knows?
My.
They both work.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm marking that down. I got it right. But anyway, this is your presentation that you were invited to give at a site at Site Santa Fe for the Wilderness event hosted by Creative Santa Fe. There are over 20 slides, 20 seconds each, as you narrate some poems. And I won't play the whole thing because I want people to click on it themselves, but I'll do a quick little preview here. So let me do full screen here and just play through it a little bit.
Just hours after my mother's funeral, I was walking by this lake and had an implacable urge to disrobe and create a photograph. This happened repeatedly the next year as I camped in the western United States. I knew not why, but as a woman in my 60s, I knew it was time to listen. Then the images gave me poems from nature, calling me to contemplate aging, abuse, consumerism, feminism, and climate change. This is an invocation to feminize our presence on the earth by seeing how women and nature are both revered and desecrated.
Strong.
As I entered the old-growth forest, the wood nymphs whispered my name. I kept walking. They kept talking. Here now, I asked. What are you waiting for? They answered. This is the present.
Yes. Now, I'm going to pause it there because I want you to chat here about this project here. For those that are not watching the video, again, it's 20 slides or so of her, various spots in nature, unbelievable photography, and she's in the nude. As I told the folks inside of my Patreon community, it's barely NSFW, barely. So, but you can still go check it out. You know, at the beginning of the show, I asked you about just your thought process and coming up with these ideas. Where does this come from? Because I mean, this is such a in my own opinion, this is like so out there and so creative. You know, as you said, you're in your 60s, out in nature, in the nude, but this works. Tell me more.
Well, the first photograph of me sitting in that little dinghy was taken the day that we buried my mother. Oh. And after her funeral, my partner and I went walking around this lake, and we saw that dinghy, and I had this, voice in my head that said, disrobe and make a photograph. I didn't know why, but I listened and I said, okay, I can do this. And then a year later, we bought an RV. Thank you, Mom, little inheritance. And we went camping in the western United States for 2 months. And that experience kept happening at random, completely unpredictable moments. So for example, that one of me on the fallen tree, it was 300 feet from the parking lot. And we walked in and I said, oh my gosh, it's happening. I have to make a picture here. And my partner said, we're 300 feet from the parking lot. We're in this
everybody can see.
We're in this huge redwood forest. There'll be another fallen tree. Let's keep going. So we walked for an hour and a half. I played with a few other trees. And on the way out, it was as if that tree grabbed me by the throat and said, you, here, now. Yes. And so we did it. The good news is, sidebar for people, in the national parks, it is legal to be nude. You are not allowed to be lewd. Yeah. But so if anyone would walk by, I had my little thing rehearsed. We're an artist doing the project. Please keep going. But no one walked by. We got lucky.
Right.
But every single one of those images, except the drone shot of me in the green field with the flowers all around me, that one I did preconceive. But all the other photographs were just in the moment of this place, this time, make a photograph. So I collected this body of work. I didn't know what it was about. I took a workshop here in Santa Fe at Santa Fe Photographic Workshops called Creating a Personal Project. And I just printed out the images on a computer printer. And I said to the class, do I have a project? And, it kind of blew everyone's mind. And the teacher said, you most definitely have a project. It's a very unique body of work, but you have to go figure out what it's about. And
Challenge
so
accepted.
that's when challenge accepted. Yes. And so that's when I started. I would just print one image and then stare at it, sometimes for hours, and ask for a poem to come to me to tell me what that moment in time was about.
Just lovely. Freaking lovely.
And that's how it all came together.
Freaking lovely. I watched this video and listened to it, and again, it's this having the audio with it to accompany it. It really, really enhances it. And then the photo nerd inside of me just gets excited too, just because of your composition style here. I mean, the one with you and the horse's mane just barely covers you,
Yep, I know. It's
just barely covers you. Little stuff like that. And even down to I notice you use a lot of really, really wide frames because it's freaking nature. And it's just vast areas. So you go really, really wide frames, and we tend to spot you within the frames somewhere along those third lines, lower third, rule of third line, somewhere in those areas. It's almost like guaranteed, and it's not distracting, but it's just a beautiful point of interest, but it doesn't take away from that freaking beautiful vast view of you being out here in all of these amazing spots in the country. So where all did you go? You said just Santa Fe. Where else? Anywhere else?
Well, we started in Santa Fe. It was the year of the total eclipse, and we drove north to Colorado to see the eclipse, and then up all the way through Wyoming, Montana, across, and then down the Pacific coast and back through Arizona.
Wow.
So it was great. But, from the photography point of view, most of the images, or the majority of the images, I'm small.
Yeah.
And that's by intention.
I get it.
and there's a few where I'm in your face. Yeah. And that's also by intention.
Yeah.
And, sometimes we just, have to, what is it that I want to say? Yeah, it just depends. It just depends. But mostly, I would say 2/3, I'm pretty small. But because I'm just a little part of nature, and I'm right there trying to fit in, and nature's taking care of me. And then, there are some, the horse picture that, I had the camera and the tripod, a GorillaPod on the ground with a clicker. And my partner was helping me. A lot of times he actually gets the credit for clicking the shutter. But, I had the moment. I was the model, and I said, this is the shot I want. But the horses, they were in the stable when we went out in that pasture for sunrise. And they saw us out there, and they all came out. And first they did several circles around me to kind of check me out. And then, back to business, eating some grass, check out the camera.
Yeah, I tell you, Miss
And it
Rox,
was, right it got lucky. That's photography. You have to show up.
Miss Rox, you are better than me because horses are big ass strong animals, and I ain't messing around with horses. I'm not. I've seen their teeth. I've seen them kick people. They're beautiful, magnificent animals, but I have a healthy level of respect to keep myself within 20 feet.
Very, very good. I was very trusting for sure. But, that was the one poem I had the hardest time because there's no other animals in the series. And I didn't know how I thought, well, it's a great photograph, but how does it fit in with this project? I need help. I really need help. And so I started looking up horses, and then I realized, never thought about it, that horses are prey. They're not predator.
Right.
And then suddenly that whole theme of, women feeling like prey so much of the time, it was like, oh, that's it,
So strong.
And then it came to me, so.
I freaking love it.